Hey, counseling students, welcome to chapter 11, Reflection of Meaning and Interpretation Reframe, helping clients restory their lives. All right, so we have a lot of things to go over today. So we are going to have the ability to understand the skills, reflection of meaning and interpretation and reframing, recognize their similarities and differences, explore the rationale and some philosophical background of the centrality of the two skills, become aware of the work of Viktor Frankl. Maybe some of you have already heard of him before in other courses, but he is the central philosopher and practical psychiatrist who developed logotherapy. You'll explore discernment, which is a practical system to aid clients in deciding their life direction. All right, we're also going to have the ability to assist our clients through reflection of meaning. These are things that you just keep on hearing so much of. You're probably getting tired of hearing this. And the really good news is that these are just going to be, again, core things that you are just going to know. You're going to have them in your memory system. It's not going to be something where you're saying, oh, I'm using reflection of meaning. It's just going to be something that you do. And when you do this, that is getting to that deeper meaning of your clients and really understanding where their goals are. You're going to understand, like, what are their drives? What are their purposes? Just what is the reason that brought me into therapy? And so when we are reflecting, feelings and meaning and all of the things, that's what makes our work with our clients very competent, and it allows them to reach all of the objectives that they want through, in therapy. All right. So, ability to enable clients through interpretation reframing to find alternative ways of thinking and new perspectives that facilitate personal development. Ability to evaluate their progress and change as you use these skills. And ability to understand and use in the sessions some aspects of the action philosophy and practice of logotherapy. Okay, so this again, just a little graph to show you meaning is at the center of the human experience. So when we have this, this triad here, we've got feelings, behaviors, and thoughts. So our thoughts sometimes drive our feelings, and our feelings then drive our behaviors, right? So you have this thought, and it's like, how do I react to this thought? I have these feelings about this thought. And then those feelings sometimes then can go into that behavior. So you notice that arrows are they're not just going one way. They're going left, they're going right, they're going up, and they're going down. So at the center of this figure is meaning as the core of human experience and its relationship to feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. So meaning can drive action. And as we discuss this more, that little wheel will make more sense. All right, so when we look at meaning versus emptiness, meaning gives direction and purpose to life, right? If we feel that we have meaning in our lives, it helps us strive to do more, to be better, to be more involved, to be more active, even within our own selves, not even for other people, but just for our own personal selves. Without meaning, there is that feeling of emptiness. If we cannot connect meaning to something, that is where that emptiness can set in. Clients may have a need to find meaning in their life experiences, make sense of those experiences, establish goals, values, and a sense of life vision. And often our clients are just stuck, which is the reason they go into therapy, to kind of pull out what meaning is for them. All right, many aim to address existential questions such as, who am I? Why am I here? Again, they are able to come in and say the why, and then we focus more on the what and the how so that the why unfolds. So they're coming in there like not understanding, like, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Does this even matter? That a lot of people are just stuck and they need help just kind of digging out of that. All right, the pursuit of meaning influences most of what we do. That is what we do. We guide. Again, I'm constantly saying we guide and we provide. We are not advice givers. We are there to help our clients get unstuck. All right, so lack of meaning and emptiness effects were reported in a recent study of more than 400 people. Recent meaning recent of when this book came out in 23. With or without mental issues between the ages of 18 and 80. So it was a very nice, widely broad range of people and ages. Emptiness was characterized by a sense of inner void, coupled with lack of purpose in life and a sense of disconnection to people in their lives and to the world around. Emptiness was described as a kind of bottomless jug. I say bottomless pit, but whatever, that can never be filled. It felt as though I wasn't fully part of the world. These are just quotes. I existed, but I wasn't alive. And I know for all of us at some point in our own lives, we have felt that we were at this bottomless pit or jug, or that something isn't filled, or that, like we're going through something, but you feel like you're just existing, but you're not feeling really alive. So I think the important thing to take away from that is to humanize it, to understand that we've all experienced a time in our lives where we've felt that. All right. So the consequences were described by, people in the study as something that sucks all the life and energy out of you. People felt unable to contribute to the world and their lives as they would like. All right, so when we explore reflection of meaning, so we're going to look at this again. Meanings are close to core experiencing. Encourage clients. This is what you want to do when you're in practice, wherever you're working. You want to encourage them to explore their own meaning. What does this mean for them? And you want to explore their values more in depth from their own perspective. Also, they need to look at the perspectives of others. That is what helps gain that healthy sense, that balance. Questions eliciting meaning are often a vital first step. A reflection of meaning looks very much like a paraphrase, but focuses beyond what the client says. Appearing often are the words meaning, values, vision, and goals. So in doing this and helping clients reflect meaning, the anticipated result would be that the client discusses their stories, their past, their histories, all of their issues, and their concerns more in depth with you. And there will be a special emphasis on deeper meanings, values, and understandings. Clients may be enabled to discern their life goals and vision for the future. And they do that if they feel they're in an environment where they're safe to be able to talk about those things. All right, when we look at interpretation and reframing, provide the client with a new meaning or perspective, frame of reference, or way of thinking about issues. So it's okay to question and say, hey, have you thought about this perspective? Or what would it look like if? So you really just want to do that digging and get them to interpret things differently so that they can take that situation that they might have been framing negatively or a never-ending thing and into reframing a better outcome. All right, so interpretations, reframes may come from your observations. They may be based on varying theoretical orientations to the helping field, or they may link critical ideas together. So you may know this and learn all this through other courses that you're going to take that will bring this all together. And then, of course, the anticipated result, the client may find another perspective or meaning of a story, issue, or problem. The new perspective could have been generated by a theory used by the therapist, by linking ideas or information, or by simply looking at the situation in a new light. So again, they're going to get things, your client, from you, from their own understanding, and from learning a new, fresh perspective. All right, so eliciting and reflection of meaning. The eliciting and reflection of meaning is both a skill and a strategy. As a skill, this is really important to note. So when you think about it as a skill, think about this question. What does blank mean to you, your past, or your future self? Whatever that is, this is a good one to take note of. So what does blank mean to you, your past, and your future life? If you use this as a strategy, you bring out client stories from the past, in the present, or in anticipation of the future. All right, so this is a reflection of meaning, and Charlize, I'm not going to read this again. This is in the text for you to complete. All right, so reflection of meaning. Eliciting meaning often precedes reflection, so it comes before. Key words that you're going to hear when we're talking about reflection of meaning is meaning itself, sense, deeper understanding, purpose, vision, anything that relates to that. And this will be presently, it's going to either be explicitly stated or implicitly implied. Reflection of meaning provides an opening for the client to explore issues in a way that leads to a deeper awareness of the possibilities of life. When we are going to look at comparing reflection of meaning and interpretation and reframing, so we look at both of them together. They're both designed to help your client look deeper within themselves and examine things through a new perspective. Again, a new lens. That is our hope for our clients. Reflection of meaning involves client direction. The client provides the new perspective. So they are going to be the ones that have the aha moment. It is not through us giving advice. It's allowing them to come in, feel safe, tell their story, and we kind of guide and provide. And we're there to pull that stuff out, and then they have the aha moment. Again, it's not us giving advice. Interpretation reframe implies that, again, the book says interviewer. It's to me, I'm not a fan of the word. Therapist, clinician, counselor, whoever. This implies that you are going to, you're going to have this direction, and it offers a new way of being for the client as suggested by you. So what you're doing is you're not telling them what to do. You are asking questions. You're looking for alternatives. You're looking for suggestions. That's different than advice. Advice is telling someone what to do. Suggestions are like, have you thought of this? Have you thought about that? Was there a time when you did this that it worked? Was there a time that you did it and it wasn't the way that you thought? How could that look differently? So then they're the ones that are coming up with their reframe, and it's not you telling them what to do. All right, so both end up in the same place. We need to give clients power and control of sessions whenever possible. If the client does not respond to reflective strategies, move to active reframing or a theoretical interpretation. Again, this is you just having the knowledge. All right, questions that may orient toward meaning. This is really important. When in your life did you have existential or meaning questions? How have you resolved these issues thus far, in the past, whatever? When a client can hold on to something that, oh, I went through this and clearly I did get through it. What is it that they did before? When they had this crisis or they had an issue, what was it that got you through it? So having those questions, those simple things to ask them, they start digging and pulling from their reserves. They're like, well, oh yeah, I did do this. I cried a lot. I did whatever. And then I remembered this strategy that I used. So then you want to just hold on to that and then ask more questions from there. All right. What significant life events have shaped your beliefs about life? These are just some questions that you can put in your own bank, and then you can reword them as you see fit. All right, what are your earliest childhood memories as you first identified your ethnic cultural background, your spirituality? These are just questions to look at meaning, depending on what they're coming in for. What are your earliest memories of church, synagogue, mosque, a higher power, or discovering your parents' vital life values? Now, this does not mean that you are talking about religion. Again, I've said this from the beginning that we want our clients to come up with these things first. If our clients talk about spirituality, God, anything like that, then it's okay to talk about that. We as clinicians do not ever put or assume anything with a client. So based on the questions we ask them, we find out, they'll automatically usually tell you about their spirituality, church, again, synagogue, spirituality. And that's when you can, lean into that and ask, well, what are your earliest memories of this? And then they dig further. Where are you now in your life journey, your spiritual journey? Again, this is if they are bringing it up. Again, if I drill anything in your head, it's that we do not put words in their mouth. We run with what they tell us and ask based on their life story. All right, reflecting meaning. Say back to clients their exact meaning and value words. Again, because it's their meaning, their words, their interpretation. Reflect their own unique meanings, not yours. This is the reason I drill this in. Occasionally, you may supply the needed meaning words yourself. Like you will say, you value this. It sounds like you're trying to say that this is important for you. And it's okay to say you value, because you're not putting words in their mouth. You're saying that based on what they have said to you. So again, those keywords: meaning, value, reasons, intent, and cause. All right, micro skill of interpretation and reframing. Listen to the client's story, issue, or problem. Again, we are really using those listening skills. So that's exactly what we want to do, is listen. Really lean into that. We're not writing a bunch of words down. We're taking it all in. Learn how the client makes sense of, thinks about, or interprets the story or issue. Provide an alternative meaning or interpretation of the narrative. So that might mean that, from what you're hearing and you're listening to their stuckness, provide that alternative meaning. Well, it sounds like this. And they may come back to you and say, that's exactly what I was trying to say. I just didn't have the right words. Or they may say, well, that's not really what I was meaning. And then you say, okay, continue. What? Please, yeah, tell me what it is that you want me to understand or get across, or however comfortable it is for you. All right, so interpretation reframes may come from therapist observations. So this is what I've observed. Let me know if I'm correct. Let me know if I'm incorrect. Be based on theoretical orientations. Again, that's where you use the theories that you've learned. And again, we do not have to tell our client, well, I'm using this theory of blah, 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 CBT. They don't need to know that. They just need to get unstuck. And then link ideas discussed earlier. All right, so the client may find another perspective. The client may find a new meaning attached to their story, issue, or problem. The intervention can be evaluated, again, using the client change scale. Now, this may be something that you use in future practice, or this may be something that you do not directly use, but you're like, oh, I do remember this scale and I just know this. So whatever is going to work for you. All right, so this is an example interview. Again, you can look at this in the text. Interpretation from different counseling theories. So we've got three that I'll highlight: decisional theory, person-centered, and brief counseling. So with decisional theory, this helps the client find new ways of thinking about their decisions, right? It's based on decisional theory. The person-centered, that is that Rogerian approach. This helps the client build on their strengths and find deeper purpose. Now, although a lot of people want to start off person-centered, which is great because it's really helping the client build trust, that does not mean we stay in person-centered. That approach does not work for everything. So it's I really like person-centered to start, but sometimes when we hit the really deep issues, we have to use other theories, other techniques, and those are things that you just know. Brief counseling that helps clients find quick ways to reach central goals. And the reason we talk about brief counseling is that if it's insurance and the client only has so many sessions, we want to really not get stuck in their past. We want to use forward thinking and what is going to work for them in this moment to help them long term. So a lot of counseling is brief counseling. It's anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 sessions, depending on insurance, or if you're self-pay, you can be in therapy for a long time, but as long as it's beneficial and you're giving the client what they need and it's not just, they're just talking or venting. It needs to serve purpose. All right, interpretation from different counseling theories. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is the #1 go-to. That is the one insurance pays for. That helps clients link thinking and behavior. So it's a good one to, kind of challenge those illogical thought patterns. Psychodynamic theory, that was based on Freudian psychoanalytic theory. We're going deeper. Those are those more deeply rooted issues that helps the client link ideas about how the past influences the present. And so even in psychodynamic theory, we look at the past, we visit it, but we want to make sure we're not stuck there. I tell my clients, we're going to drive by that past and we're not going to pull up. We're not getting out, we're not visiting, we're not staying, but we're going to have an understanding of what has shaped your thoughts so that we can kind of break that mold. And then multicultural counseling and therapy, also known as MCT, helps clients reframe their concerns in relation to their multicultural background. And it will help greatly when you take that multiculturalism class. All right, resilience, purpose, and meaning. Resilience is the ability to recover from a wide variety of difficulties. Resilience can be either inborn or you can learn resilience. You can learn resilient behaviors. It just takes a little more time, but it can be learned. 2 examples of resilience in children and teens: the child who is teased but bounces back cheerfully the next day, and the adolescent who undergoes being dumped by a boyfriend or girlfriend but soon gets over it and moves on. That is a resilient person. What was I going to say? Probably innately they're resilient. What we see here is the ability to not let bad experiences get one down. Meaning and purpose are key to resilience. Those with a sense of meaning and purpose have better mental and physical health. Teaching resilience results in less childhood depression. So the younger we can get, kids and really teach them about resilience, the better we are setting them up for success with less depression in their lives. All right. Discernment. This is something we hear a lot in therapy. That is the ability to separate, to determine, to sort out, or when the spirit is at work in a situation. You'll hear this a lot in church. So if you do go to church or if you are a spiritual person, you do hear the term discernment heard. It involves determining the origins of our interior and exterior experiences. It describes therapists' work with clients at deeper levels of meaning. It is also the process through which clients focus on future vision. And that's really what we want for our clients, is for them to envision a really good future. And that when they do have ups and downs, as people do, they will better, be able to handle it better. All right, so this one short slide before we get to the end: multicultural and family issues and stories. This is really good where the genograms come in. So you can use genograms when you're working within these systems. So these issues may be key in helping clients discover personal meaning, eliciting meaning, and focusing reflection on contextual issues beyond the individual will enhance and broaden one's understanding of life's deeper concerns. Focusing is the most certain way to bring multicultural issues into the session. And as you learned from the previous chapter, there are a lot of focus points, a lot of focus statements for, therapists to really lean into. A woman, LGBTQIA plus person, or person of color may be depressed over what is considered a personal failure. By helping the client see the cultural and environmental context of the issue, a new perspective will appear, providing a totally new and more workable meaning. So that, again, that is our goal. That's assisting our clients and helping them discover their personal meaning. Again, we're not giving advice. We are guiding them into what they already know. They just need us maybe to help dig with them, get in the dirt with them. So, key points in practice: the how of reflecting meaning, interpretation and reframe, learning about discernment, multicultural family issues and stories, and then of course ending with the portfolio of competencies and personal reflection. So, yay, I love it when I can keep it under 30 minutes. So I hope you got a little bit out of that. Usually, again, in every chapter, we're going to ask what stood out for you, and make sure that you are consistently reflecting back to the chapter. Because although some of your questions may appear redundant, like this question was in the last chapter, in the last one, it is, but it's a whole new meaning based on what we're talking about now. The last one, we were talking about focusing statements. Now we're talking about this. So now you keep building up, and that's how you get to that overall multicultural being. So hopefully that helped. If you, what was I going to say? I don't remember. Never mind. Well, I will see you in the next chapter. And so for now, whenever you're watching this, in the morning, afternoon, or evening, have a wonderful day, evening, wherever you're at. And I will see you in the next chapter. All right. Peace.